Then here are the assortment of longer stirrup leathers, dressage girths, and reins.
Let's talk about your stirrup leathers for a moment. Because I remember back in the day, my stirrup leathers would stretch.
So nowadays, all of the stirrup leathers that I carry are calfskin covered nylon lined. So the core of the leathers is a nylon strip, so it's not going to stretch and it's far less likely to break. But then over top of it, they have a fine skin of calfskin, soft leather, so that they don't rub your saddle, but they don't stretch.
And also, one of my students on the mainland was talking about holes that are a half inch instead of
Yes,
inch.
like so these have half holes.
So
see how close, how
back in my day, when I had a big riding school with 100 students a week, we had to punch holes in our stirrup leathers constantly.
because they weren't in the right place. So they've
Right.
got a lot more holes placed in them nowadays. And they come in different lengths.
For
Different
children.
lengths of legs for children and for different styles.
Yep, wonderful, wonderful. And this girth with the sheepskin on it,
This
that's
is just a regular hunter
synthetic.
jumper synthetic, but it washes very well. That's why it's really popular, because you can keep it clean. Because this just, you tie these up with socks and they can go in the washing machine and be cleaned regularly.
So your buckles aren't
Beating up the inside of your machine,
yes.
but it's still getting cleaned.
Well, and your sensitive mare is going in a girth like this only, but the dressage length.
Sheepskin, but
The
real
sheepskin,
Yeah.
yes. And there are some horses that need that because of their level of sensitivity.
Well, that's what this particular sheepskin pad is for. It's a liner that connects to all your regular pads. So if your horse is too sensitive to use a regular pad and gets their hair burned off, because that happens to a lot of horses.
I've seen it.
You attach this, and then you can use all your pretty pads, but you have the sheepskin directly against your horse's back, so it's comfortable for your horse, but you still get to use all your pretty pads.
You know, years ago, I had a thoroughbred that had come up from California. He was a former racehorse, and he had been infected by an insect that had a larvae phase that came up through the skin like warbles on cattle and sometimes horses. And we had to have that surgically removed. And so I had to be very careful. That's when I started using sheepskin because that would wear. So that's fabulous. Fabulous. Yep. Yep. Wonderful.
And then over here in the corner, we have, well, first our safety jackets, which you can't miss, which are for riding so that everybody can see you, because if they can see you, you're far less likely to get hit. And they'll actually slow down for you, hopefully.
Hopefully.
And if you're in the bush with them, you're much more visible to hunters and everybody else. Here's the shaped saddle pads for the jumper pads. And then here is my selection of helmets, all of them which are approved for North American riding. There's different brands, Ovation BR and 1K, because helmet brands fit differently, and people can really love a brand of helmet, but if it doesn't fit your head properly, you really shouldn't be using it.
Yep.
Here's a couple more of our consignment saddles, our lovely Antares here. And then this is my one and only new saddle in the store.
I'm just going to shut this